One of the ways of preparation of these halogen compounds is by addition of um, addition to unsymmetrical alkenes. What exactly addition? So addition of things like HX, that is asymmetrical compound to asymmetrical or unsymmetrical alkenes. So when the alkene is unsymmetrical, that is, for example, suppose if there is a C, double bond C, and here a C. So it is a asymmetrical or unsymmetrical alkene. But if it is like this C, double bond C, it is symmetrical. Suppose there is a C here as well as here, this is also symmetrical. So this is unsymmetrical and this one is symmetrical. So that is the difference between symmetrical and asymmetrical uh, alkenes. Now, when it is a symmetrical alkene, and there if you are doing some addition, say for example HBr, if this is going to be added here, so addition means what? A double bond will break, in that pi bond will break, right? This will break between C and C, and there will be a single bond, and now the both of them are actually ready to make one bond. So one H will come here and one Br will come here. Now whether it is this Br comes down or H goes, I mean, suppose if the carbons are numbered as 1, 2, 3, and 4. If it is symmetric, if this is symmetric, that is this compound, the alkene is symmetric, obviously it doesn't matter whether H has attached to 2 or H has attached to carbon 3, because in both the cases the compound will be same because of symmetry, right? Problem comes here when the alkene is asymmetrical or unsymmetrical alkene. In that case, theoretically there will be two possible products. Now what all two possibilities are here? This is C1, C2, C3. Out of H and Br, H can attach to C1, that is first case, and H can attach to C2, that is the second case. So both are theoretically possible. That is, it will be say C, C, C. Second case also it will be C, single bond C, single bond C. The H which we have to attach, that can come here, or it can also come here. Now these two compounds are not same. In case of symmetrical, this, if you change the position of H, it doesn't make any difference in the compound. Whether H attaches itself to carbon 2 or carbon 3, it doesn't make any difference. But here if this bond breaks, it has two options, to attach to carbon 1 or to get itself attached to carbon 2. Right? So these are the two different options. So these are actually two different, we can say, two different compounds. So there are two possibilities, right, as we have said. But experimentally we find that, or it has been found that under these conditions, there is one major product and there is one minor product. So they both are not equally produced. One is produced more in amount and another uh, other this thing is other compounds or other products, you can say share is less when the products are formed, right? So instead of writing these skeleton, let us understand by concrete example. So for example, if we have propene CH3, single bond CH, double bond CH2, right? So we have this compound which is actually a propene, and it is a unsymmetrical propene. And if I am adding HBr to it, no light, that is, it is dark, and no peroxide. We'll understand what is peroxide later. But suppose that is the situation, there are two theoretical products possible. One is CH3CH. Br gets attached here. Basically, this bond breaks. It is an example of addition reaction. So there is only one point of saturation here, site of saturation, unsaturation, that is this. So this bond has to break. So when this bond breaks, new bond, it will be able to, the carbon here will be able to form new bonds. So that forms a bond with Br. And the third carbon will get the extra H. So H comes here and Br comes here. And other possibility in this is CH3, CH2, and CH3, sorry, CH2Br. So the molecular formula for both of these is exactly same. There is no difference in the molecular formula. Only problem is the position of Br. The Br is attached to second or the middle carbon, and Br is attached to the terminal carbon in the second part. Right? Okay. Now practically we observe, theoretical this is possible, but practically what we observe is that the first one, this one is the major product, and this one is minor one. That means this is produced very less and this is produced more. Coming to their nomenclature, this name for this will be 2-bromopropane, 2, and this will be 1-bromopropane. So the compounds are different. So now, is there a way to identify which product will be the major product theoretically instead of observing it practically? So can we do that? So now that is possible by, or that is actually explained, this why this product is major product and why the second product is not the major product. That is actually explained by a rule called Markovnikov's rule. So let us understand what is Markovnikov's rule. So Markovnikov's rule says that in case of such situations, the addition of unsymmetrical reagents, we are adding the thing which we are adding, right? For example, HBr. So H will get added and Br will also get added. Instead of that, if you add H2, that is just hydrogen and hydrogen. So that is that in that case also you won't have this confusion of which compound will be in a major product and which compound will be minor product. The problem comes when there is a unsymmetrical alkene and there is an unsymmetrical reagent. Now in such cases, unsymmetrical reagents means reagents like, so what are these reagents? These are these derivatives, HX. It can be even H2O. This is also asymmetrical, and even HOX. So these are the unsymmetrical derivatives or reagents. And when they will attack unsymmetrical alkenes, now that occurs in such a way that the negative part of the adding molecule, negative part. So all these have a negative and positive part. This is delta positive, this is negative. This is delta positive, this is negative. Delta positive, and this is delta negative. So the negative part will get itself attached. Negative part of what? Negative part of adding reagent, or there is a name for that, that is called addendum. That is the adding molecule, the molecule which is going to be added. So this negative part of the addendum attaches or goes to that carbon that carbon atom of the double bond which carries lesser number of hydrogen atom. The negative part goes to that carbon of carbon-carbon double bond that contains or that which carries lesser number of hydrogen atoms. And now consider, this carefully, and now move to the example which we have seen above. So we have these two carbons, carbon 1, carbon 2, and carbon 3. Out of these two carbons, carbon 2 and carbon 3 are the carbons that are actually having CC double bond. Now out of these two carbons, that is C2 and C3, it is C2 which has less number of hydrogen. Now coming to the negative part of the reagent. For example, here Br. So Br is the negative part of this is negative and H is positive. So negative goes to that carbon which has less number of hydrogen, as you can see here. C3 has 2 hydrogen, C2 has 1 hydrogen, so it goes and attaches itself to that carbon which has less number of hydrogen. So this was observed by Markovnikov's, and that's why he named it as, or this rule is called Markovnikov's rule. So is there any explanation for this? So answer is yes, there is explanation for this. The addition of halogen acids to alkene, this is an electrophilic addition reaction, right? So what does that mean? During the addition of HBr to propene, the first step involves the addition of a proton. That is, H plus gets attached to this first. So this is electrophilic addition reaction. Now this addition in principle can occur in two ways. That is, proton adds to the terminal carbon, as in this second case, or the proton adds on to the terminal carbon atom of the double bond. So in that case, a carbocation will be formed. So we'll see that what it actually means. Right. So if we have this CH3, CH double bond, CH2, right? So first we said what? H plus will get added to this. So first part is electrophilic. So some electrophile should come and attack this. So this is the electrophile and this will attack. And there are two options. This is the electron rich site, that is the double bond. This double bond is the electron rich site, and this double bond is being shared by these two carbons. That is carbon 1, carbon 2, and carbon 3. So carbon 1 and carbon 2 shares that double bond. Now this H plus can attack both C1 and C2, right? So this addition can happen in two ways. That is, it can go to C1 or it can go to C2. So we'll see, C2 and C1. So let us take these cases one by one. Now this we have seen in the previous classes when we have seen formation of carbocations. Carbocations are formed by, one of the methods was by addition reaction. During addition reaction, carbocations are intermediates. So it's not good to use carbocations are formed by. Instead, we said carbocations are formed during. So during the addition reactions of alkenes, carbocations were formed, that we have seen, right? So now this H plus, which is coming here, and that gets attached to carbon 1 or carbon 2. So what happens if it gets attached to carbon 1? A carbocation will be formed. what will that carbocation look like? So this will be, say, CH3, CH, and CH3. So the carbon has come to this C1. Sorry, the hydrogen has come to this C1 here. You can see here it has increased from CH2 to CH3. That means carbon came here. So what will happen now? This this second carbon will have a positive charge. And what will happen if it is the second case? In the second case, you will get CH3. That hydrogen comes here and gets attached, that is CH2. And you will have this CH2 because the hydrogen comes here and gets itself attached. So obviously now this carbon will have a positive charge. So now you have there are two carbocations. Out of these two carbocations, this is a 1 degree carbocation. And this one is 2 degree carbocation. And luckily we have already studied which carbocation is more stable. So which one is more stable out of these two, 2 degree and 1 degree?
2 degree.
Yeah, any answers? Out of 2 degree and 1 degree carbocations, which carbocation is more stable?
2 degree.
2 degree. So this is more stable. So because it is more stable, that's why the product which will be formed by this, that will be the major product, right? So what will happen now? Now you have Br negative. So the Br negative, which is going to attach somewhere, so that will attach here in this, and the same Br negative will in this case attach here. Obviously this one is more stable, so this reaction will be fast and this reaction will be slow, and that's why this will give you the minority product or minor product. So what we'll get here is the product CH3, CH, here a Br, and this one CH3. And what you get here is CH3, CH2, CH2, Br. This is the major product. And that is the concept, or you can say the explanation or justification of Markovnikov's rule. Right? So if the less number of hydrogen means the carbon having lesser number of hydrogen means the carbon which had the other carbon has more hydrogens. So there is no bromine there, and obviously this carbon will become the 2 degree carbon, and here whatever product will get, that will be more stable, and that's why that will be the majority or major product, right? So that is the Markovnikov's rule and its application. Now there is also a rearrangement of rearrangement of carbocations which we have studied. So even that comes into picture. And what does that do? So that we'll see next. So this is important because this comes under preparation of halogen compounds or halogen derivatives of alkanes, right? Now the addition of Br2 to alkenes that occurs through we have seen that will have Br free radical mechanism, right? It will follow that. Now the carbocations which we have seen, they are prone to rearrangement, and they'll rearrangement if only we have seen, right, when rearrangement happens. There are different types of rearrangement, hydride shift and all those things, and that happens hydride shift, alkyl shift or methyl shift, aryl shift, we have seen phenyl shift, we have seen this, and that happens only when after doing this shifting or after doing the rearrangement, when we get a better or more stable uh, structure, then only that happens, right? Now the carbocations can do that. So sometimes the product which is formed, that may undergo this hydride shift. That is, in this case, that is the halogen derivative which will be formed. So let us see example of that as well. Say, for example, we have this CH3, CH3 on top of that, then CH double bond CH2. So what is this compound? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 3-methyl but1-ene, right? So when this is attacked by a H plus, just like we have seen in the previous example, it will form a carbocation, and the H plus will go and attach to the this will create a carbocation. We'll just see how this carbocation is formed. So we have seen that if this H plus comes here, it will be a 2-degree carbocation. That is, if it attacks C1, it will be a 2-degree carbocation. So it will go and attach to the C1. So what will be formed here is this CH3, CH3. There is an H here. We are going to show how the carbocation rearrangement happens. That's why I have drawn this bond of H. Then this C has next CH, and then this CH2 will now become CH3. So now there is a positive charge on this carbon, that is carbon plus, right? Okay, now this is a 2-degree carbocation. We said if it is possible, it will go rearrangement. It will go into rearrangement. So now after doing rearrangement, what will we get? The rearrangement is possible from both the sides, from here as well as here. So obviously when it goes through this, the positive charge will shift here, and because that compound will be what, that carbocation will be a 3-degree carbocation. So if this shift happens, that is, if this comes here, if this shift happens, this is what, this is hydride shift. So this, what is happening here, we say that that is nothing but 1,2 hydride shift. And when that happens, we will get rearranged carbocation. And what type of carbocation will be that? That carbocation will be this CH3. This C will have a positive charge, and CH3 here. Here there will be CH2, and here CH3. So now this is a 3-degree carbocation. Obviously, this is more stable. So out of 2-degree and 3-degree, 3-degree carbocation is more stable. So now the Br molecule, which was not Br molecule, the Br negative, which was waiting to attack, where will it attack now? This will attack the positive side. And where is the positive side? Here is the positive side. So the compound finally which we will get will be CH3, C, CH3, Br, CH2 and CH3. So it is a 3-degree or tertiary halide. So this is the compound which we get. Again, Now, if you see, where did the negative part go? Negative part actually went to that carbon which was having the least number of hydrogen or less number of hydrogen, but it didn't go and stay to these two. The addition happened not to these. Where addition actually happened, it happened here. So this is actually Markovnikov's rule plus hydride shift. So both are happening here. There can be even methyl shift possible. So even methyl shift is possible. We'll see that as well because we have studied methyl shift too. So what can happen next in the same is that this CH3, 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 CH double bond CH2. So what is the difference here? Now here instead of H you have a CH3. So now the shifting will happen due to this, and what we will get will be a, and this is what I mean in the second step. I'm doing it. I'm not doing it in detail. You try to understand that the hydride shift which we have seen here, right here, the hydride shift which we are showing here, that I'm now trying to show in this step, but now this will be our methyl shift. So when that happens, the carbocation which will be formed here, right, the carbocation which we will get will be CH3, C, CH3. This methyl will anyways shift there. So here there will be a positive charge, and then C, and this C will have a CH3 because the methyl group has shifted. This is methyl shift, and here there will be there will be H as well, which is already there as you can see here, and this last one will become CH3. It is just like this. Only thing is that here instead of H2 you have one H and one CH3. That is the only difference. And obviously now the Br negative, where will this Br negative attack? It will attack this positive carbon. So what are we going to get as our final product? It will be CH3, C, CH3, Br, CH, CH3, and CH3. Right? So this happens when there is a shift, that is either alkyl shift or methyl shift. So this, what we have actually seen here is the Markovnikov's rule earlier plus the rearrangement of carbocations. So that is also possible. Now in the next session, we'll start I'll end this session and I'll restart the new session. And in that session, we'll try to understand the peroxide effect, which is, which was so much observed that we came up with another rule that is called anti-Markovnikov's rule.